Just your overall thoughts on how things went today. Obviously not the scrimmage you had planned setting up, but went inside. How do you think everything went?
I think it's hard, because I thought it went well for, roping off the end zones, and, we had to get the ball back 2 minutes. We had to turn it back around, because you couldn't obviously go into the fans or into the parents and recruits. But I thought it went well. I thought we got accomplished. We had a couple of injuries, I think, but neither guy that got beat up a little bit had anything to do with the live tackling, so we practiced in there quite a bit. So we came out fairly well. I didn't think we particularly threw the ball well or anything of that nature. I thought the kids protected pretty good, and I think our runners ran hard, but it's stud, so it's just a different. You don't have an opportunity to break a tackle or tackle a guy and knock a ball out. There's just a lot of different things, but I think we did the right thing, I guess is what I feel like we did the right thing.
We almost kind of gloss over or take for granted KJ. We don't ask about him a whole lot because we expect, him just to be KJ. But what do you think about the spring that he has had so far, and where has he made the biggest improvements?
He's had a really good spring. I think his biggest improvement I've seen is just knowledge of seeing the game before it happens, pre-snap looks, things of that nature. He's much better in his reads right now than what he was at any time last year. He's more confident. Again, I don't think we particularly threw and caught the ball well today, especially in the 2-minute drill and things of that nature. But he's a lot better player than what he was last year, in my opinion. It's because he just sees the game faster. He's mature, older, stronger, things of that nature. But I think he's really improved a lot.
Sam, a true freshman that hadn't really been benching much, but kind of flashed out there with James Joyner on that pass and a couple of 3 runs. Talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, he continues to get better. He's a hard worker. I've really enjoyed watching his progress. I think he's getting a little bit more confident, and today the kids seem to give him a little bit better hold than, at times. We're down 12 linemen, and so the threes are usually the threes right now, but, Amari and Harris and different people are playing with the 2s and the 3s. I thought that line played a little bit better today and gave James the opportunity to get started, and I thought he ran hard.
Not necessarily out there today, but through the 12 practice, I guess it is 12, whatever it's been.
It is.
How do you feel about the receivers at this point as a group?
Well, we're thin. They're number one. Last year we had Burke as your bell cow, as your go-to guy. I don't know that we've found that yet. I mean, we're closer. I think Hazelwood has that role. But I think he'll be a lot better too once he gets through summer and understands everything.
He was hurt at first, but he seems to be coming on and playing pretty well lately.
Well, Max is, he's young. He doesn't know exactly what to do yet, but he's a talented kid. He can catch the ball. He can run routes. So he's getting better. Warren Thompson's had a pretty good spring. The guy I like a lot is Keytron Jackson. I like him a lot, but sometimes you'll go through a practice and, we're not getting him a ball. There's not at times there's not a lot of production, but I think he's a really good player. And then Bryce Stevens is continuing now to catch the ball better, and that was really we had to catch the football. So I think we have enough receivers to have a quality room in the SEC. We just we don't have a lot of depth in there, and we don't have a lot of proven guys. So we'll have to keep working that.
Sam, on the defensive side of the ball, who maybe made an impression on you or flashed a little bit today?
I thought Isaiah Nichols, seemed like he was back there by me quite a bit, in the pass rushing game. Eric Thomas flashed a few times. Drew Sanders flashed a lot. He can run. I mean, he's a good player, bump, cat. But the guy that really made a lot of plays today was Keywan Parker, and he's moved up at corner because of his physical, hard-playing style, and I noticed he made a lot of plays. A young guy, Crook made some plays, you know, him and Henley. So, but if I just said guys, Drew Sanders stood out to me, and Nichols stood out to me, and Keywan Parker.
Just what have you thought of the way Malik has thrown the ball? Maybe some drops contributed a little bit to maybe some of his numbers today.
I think with Malik, I think he's a lot like KJ too, getting him involved in the offense. I don't know that today was a particularly good day for him, but he has had good days this spring. Y'all's been to the practices, so he's had some really good days throwing the football. So I'm not going to make a whole lot out of it today, but I do believe he needs to be on the field for us to be the best team we can be, and we're continuing to try to work there, and it may not, or it may be at the right pace. It seems like it's a little slow for me. We got to maybe get him a little bit more reps out there during practice at wideout.
Coach, you mentioned some injuries earlier. Do you have any update on Torian Carter and who else maybe got dinged up?
Yeah, Torian I think is going to be okay, but in other words, I think he does have some type of injury. I don't think it's an ACL or anything like that. I think there is something there that we've got to tend to. I don't know, but I don't think it's a major injury. And then Warren Thompson he left the scrimmage when he hit his head on the turf, and so I'm not for sure if he's in concussion protocol or he just was, you know, ears were ringing for a while. I don't know, but those are the only two that I can think of right now, and I may be wrong, but those are the only two I can think of.
I know with Wagner kind of dealing with his little back deal, it gave Crawford an opportunity to play with the first unit. What have you seen from him this spring and how he's developed?
I think it's helped us. I mean, you know, Ricky, you know, Tykeist there's a lot of teams can win a lot of games with Tykeist Crawford. He's a good player. I mean, like a legit SEC good player. It's really helped him with, like you mentioned, with Wags we're being super cautious about Wagner's back. We have to get it healthy, and but Tykeist is allowing us to do that. And of course, Schronberg's been out, you know, for a week now, maybe 4 practices, I think, and it's helping us develop that center spot as well. But those two guys been banged up a little bit, but. It's funny you ask about Crawford because we've been talking about him we actually moved him inside the guard for part of the practice on Thursday he's playing really good, you know, so we got to find a place for him.
When this day rolls around, it's usually thought of as like the last day of spring. So the next 3 practices, what do you expect to do?
Tuesday will be a regular Tuesday. It'll be situational, thud, and then it'll be about an hour and 50 minutes. And then Thursday will be a spider practice again, a lot like yesterday, a few more situational type things. And then next Saturday, I'm not 100% what we're going to do, but I'm pretty close in that we'll probably take the vets and do Indy, probably some type of team run. Not physically running, I'm saying like team run, O versus D. And we might have a one-on-one session, wide receivers, DBs, O-line, D-line, and then scrimmage of 3s. And that's it for the older guys. So that would be the plan right now. It'd be on Saturday morning, and, you know, we're going to go out here next week. Because they're setting up in the stadium with guards. So
there was a real buzz about this today with all the prospects and parents in there. What did you feel about like the way that the day set up from a recruiting standpoint?
Well, I got here early, and I think I visited I think I'm at 8 right now for the day with parents and kids, and I think we have 25 kids on campus that we've offered. So it's the biggest day we've ever had since I've been the coach here. And we have an official visit and things. So as soon as I leave here, I got a whole bunch more. And I had a bunch yesterday. So we've got a good staff that works hard in recruiting, and I think it's set up pretty good. I don't know, do you guys know if did it rain out there or no, or do you know? Y'all were inside with me, weren't you? So I don't know if it would have been any better out there or not, but I thought it went good for the kids.
There's some chatter that you're getting really, really close to your contract deal, and like the terms of it could be something pretty interesting. Any thoughts that you could give us there about how close you're getting and how you feel about it?
Well, I mean, I've agreed to what they've offered, and they agreed that when I agreed. So I don't know what all that means. Do you? I agreed, they agreed. So that means I guess we agreed.
How do you feel about it all?
Awesome. Awesome. You know, I will tell you this, it's going to have a non-compete clause in it, and that's about all I'll say about it but I'm glad it does. It allows us to recruit. You know, there's a lot of different things in recruiting, but one of them happens to be stability. And, you know, they can fire me. I mean, whenever they get good and ready to, but I can't leave, if that makes sense, you know, and don't want to anyway, so we're using that. But you have 130 schools, 8 of them have the head coach, their offense and defensive coordinators still there in the last 3 years, is what I read somewhere. So you got 8 schools that got the head coach, OC, DC, of 130, the same ones they had 3 seasons ago, so, or going into their 3rd season, excuse me. So we're trying to sell this contract as stability.
Coach, what about Rashad Dubinion? I know you've been pretty high on him all spring, but what did you see from him today, and then what do you feel like he's improved on the most over the course of spring?
We went back and forth of whether to run him in there with the threes and things of that nature, but he's really a shifty runner. He's a mature kid, and there's no doubt in my mind he'll help us next year in games. Not just special teams, but he'll be one of the backs toting them out because he's a good player.
Left tackle spot, you guys have tried a lot of different guys there, Luke and Brady Latham. I don't think you've tried Takist over there, but
Not yet.
Not yet, but is that in the plans? And
Well,
what do you think about the battle over there?
It's part of the plan. We know Brady can play anything. I mean, he can play any position, center, including center. And so that's kind of but it's like Ty Clary last year. He could play all the spots, but what if he gets hurt, you know? And so, yeah, Luke, Devin Manuel, I keep thinking that he's going to come on, you know, and help us there. So we have about 4 guys, with Tykees going to get an opportunity to do that as well. We have 4 or 5 guys over there, but Luke definitely has been the most consistent of that group.
This might grate on your nerves a little bit, just because you've always said, I think, you figure out who your center is, figure out who your left tackle is, and then kind of go from there with the rest of the guys. Does that make you uneasy at all that you haven't have that position settled yet?
Well, I guess, Trey, part of it is I don't feel like that we won't be good at that spot. You know what I mean? I think that's part of it. And then you come back and you go, is this hurting us, you know? And then you go back and say, is this the best look? This is how we get the most yardage with these 5 guys in these positions. And I don't know the answer to that yet, you know, but I do know this, that we've tried a lot of different people. And we'll find, I do believe that it starts at center, and then it goes to left tackle, then it goes to right tackle. Not that the guards aren't important, they are. I think that's where you put your best players, and we've got to find out if that's exactly what we're doing or not.
Coach, haven't scrimmaged a whole lot. ones, twos. How does that impact toughness, physicality, and do you get what you want in that department with how y'all practiced this spring and your thoughts going
I
forward?
think if you ask any of the kids, they tell you that we've thought it harder than we've ever have here. And so, toughness is about, to me, it's doing what we ask them to do. So your O-line, your D-line, your linebackers, it doesn't matter to them except for the tackling part of it. It's alive in there every day, no matter what the tempo you call. The secondary guys, that's wherever, Barry and them have to tackle them in individual. You got to block them as wide receivers. You have to block an individual and all those things. But I think if you ask our kids, they would tell you this is the most physical spring that we've had, to be honest with you. Now, we had half of a scrimmage basically with the ones and twos the first time, and I'm talking about live scrimmage, and then none this week. So in a normal spring, we would have had another tackle to the ground, another probably 75, 80 plays of live tackle than what we did this spring. But I do believe we're thudding a lot better than we have, which our practices seem to be more physical that way.
Coach, you mentioned Drew Sanders made a lot of plays today and flashed for you. There was one play where Malik tried to get to the edge and Drew met him there, and we know how fast Malik is. Is that kind of indicative of the kind of the player he can be for y'all?
He's fast. I mean, the guy can run. I don't know what his 40 time is or anything like that, but he runs sideline to side. The first scrimmage we had, he made the first 2 plays just, running people down. Had angles, but today that was a wow deal for me too, because I was like, Malik's out in the open, and usually he's leaving everybody. And I'm not saying Drew can outrun Malik. I'm not saying that, but he did thud him up. He did tag him up. So, yeah, I think he's a pretty good player.
Can you talk about Fortin a little bit and his strengths?
I like Fortin. I do. His strengths would be that he's older, mature. He's been in major college games. He got a really nice. He's got a way of getting a ball to a player, and not. Some quarterbacks, they just want to fire it as hard as they can all the time. They want to show their arm. Fortin wants to complete the pass. I really like his. I like his arm strength. He can play he can throw a deep ball. He can throw a short ball, but he throws it so the guy can catch it, if that makes sense. And I like everything about the kid. He's really helped us. Imagine right now if we didn't have him, we'd be in trouble. But and part of the reason that probably that we don't have a fourth quarter is because we got him. So maybe if we didn't get him, we'd still have 3 no matter what. I don't know.
Well, guys, Rocket had a touchdown run today, and what you think of him, and then when Dominique comes back, your running back room could be as packed as anybody.
Yeah, I really like Dominique. I want him back, fast we can. But in the meantime, the kids that are getting better, and Rocket, I think he just ran hard last year, and he told me at some point he was just wondering about his assignment as he's running the ball, and at that point, I know it's A to B to C or gap scheme or front side A to back side to B. I understand all that, but I think that was really going through his mind. And now you can see that he understands what its rule is. He seemed to be a little quicker in making decisions to me this spring. I told him he turned from being a hard runner to a running back, and I think that's what he's done.
The last several days had some catches today. Just the things he can do, and
yeah, I like him. He's different. It's like a running back that does. You put him on the field, and he does something different than the other ones you have. Trey's kind of a total package in there. He's got a little more speed when he's on the field. He looks great. He's gained quality weight, but he allows us to stretch vertically. the nickels, the safeties, the boundary field safeties, and I think he's a good matchup. His speed on that speed, I think that becomes a good matchup for us.
A follow up on Kiwan and Eric Thomas, and just what's led to them, maybe what's led to them being able to flash today and maybe get in a position to contribute.
Well, I think, you know, a lot of times your performance has to do with how high you think you can go. So I think with Kiwan and Eric at some point last year, they said, well, I can't get off scout team. So their performance, they try to do well on scout team, but that drive's not there. Now I think this spring, Eric's like, I'm getting on the plane. I got a chance to play a lot. I got a chance to be in the two deep rotation because that's what we do on the D-line. So his talent that he already had, I think, is shining a little bit more because his mind's allowing him to. He's not putting a governor on his mind about how far I can go. And I think it's the same thing with Kiwan. I think last year, and he's always been a hard-working kid, but last year he was on scout team, and I think he decided that's where he was going to be for the rest of the year, and he was doing a good job. But I think this spring he was like, I'm going to get on the special teams. I'm going to get on the field, and he just keeps getting better. You know, there was a lot of physical plays by him today, I thought.
Coach, fill in the blank. This excites me about my team, and then why?
Toughness, and because it's the only way we can win, and we all believe that. I'm not saying you don't have to have great players, because you do, but if you don't have toughness, you can't win. You got no chance. And so I like where we're at with the team there.
Thanks, Coach.